Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Neil here, and today we are here to worship this absolutely insane sounding amplifier. This is the PRS MT 100. It's Mark Tremonti's signature amplifier, in case you didn't know, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I love this thing. Okay guys, so before we get started, I just want to let you know that there's a Thomann affiliate link down there below in the description. If you click that link and go to the store through that link, search for anything you want, buy it, and then it really helps me out at this end. So what this amp is all about is no bells and whistles, okay? This is just a straight up 3-channel beast of an amp. So if you're the type of player that likes to just go, right, that's my amp, I know it sounds awesome on every channel, I'm putting it at the back, I'm cranking it up, I'm going to enjoy myself. If that's the sort of player that you are, then this is probably the amp for you. This amp has 4 6L6 tubes in the power section, and it has 8 preamp tubes for the preamp section. Now, the reason for that is because each channel has its own dedicated tubes, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever they've done with this amp, it definitely works, because it's absolutely phenomenal. It sounds fantastic. So over here you have the clean channel, and on the clean channel you have a volume, a treble, a middle, a bass, a master, and a presence. On the crunch channel here, well, it's not called the crunch channel, it's called the overdrive channel, but we'll call it the crunch channel. It's got a gain, a treble, a middle, a bass, a master, and a presence. Over here on the lead channel, we have a gain, a treble, a middle, a bass, a master, and a presence. If you are a high gain chugger like myself, then you will probably do just about everything on the lead channel. And the cool thing is that when you switch over to the clean channel, you have some really gorgeous spanky style cleans that you would expect from a PRS amp. Around the back, guys, it's just as simple as the front. There are some biasing pots, whatever you want to call them around there, that I would never be touching in a million years. I'd leave that to my amp tech. But apart from that, it's pretty simple. 3 speaker outputs and a send and return for the effects loop. One thing that's amused me about this amp is that as soon as I got it out of the box, I couldn't wait to plug it in and see exactly what it sounds like, you know, off camera. And I did that, dialed in my tone here, which you can still see there. Nothing's changed much on the lead channel. And then when I looked, you get this little like kind of guide thing on the top, which I think is pretty cool. And these are Mark's kind of starting point. It's a guide for his tones that he likes. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see it. But when I looked, the settings that I had on the lead channel were, he's got it down here as throaty percussion, he's described it as. And my settings are identical to his, basically. Give or take a bit of hair on the gain. So I thought that was quite amusing. I must know what I'm doing, I guess. But yeah, the lead channel, the characteristics of it are that it is a super throaty, growling beast of an amp. It's very tight, but it's not super over tight, so it gets too compressed when you're in a band situation. You know, a lot of super compressed tube amps, you disappear in the mix once the cymbals are hit, you know, and you've got a full band in there, vocalist, whatever. You kind of lose yourself in the mix with the super compressed amps. This is tight, but it's got just a massive wall of sound to it, and it will definitely keep you there in a mix, I should imagine. It's got some nice throaty mids in there. That's the best way of describing them. That's the way Mark or whoever it is at PRS has described them, and that's how I would describe them as well. It's the type of tone on that lead channel that I try and fight to dial in on just about every amp that I get on the channel. Sometimes if it's not naturally got that there, and you try and find it, you can get this weird boxy, midi, nasally tone instead, but this doesn't really do that. It keeps it throaty. There's plenty of purr, plenty of growl there, and it sounds amazing. The lead channel does take a boost quite well as well, but you really have to be careful with the gain because there's quite a lot of gain on this amp. But it's very controllable. I think the cool thing about this amp for me is that each channel has its tone, and that's basically it. You know, there's no switches, extra voicings, any of that fancy stuff. It's just, here's your 3 channels. They all sound amazing. These are the tones. Get out there, go play it and enjoy it. Crank it up and have some fun. I think that's the type of amp it is, and I think I really like that. So here is the foot switch, guys. It's pretty basic like the rest of the amp. There's your 3 channels on the floor. Pick which one you want and you're good to go. It's got a 9-pin lead adapter, jack, whatever you want to call it, that connects it to the amp. I think my only criticism is of the amp, it would have been nice to have a switchable effects loop as well, you know, an extra button on that foot switch just to turn the effects loop on and off, because as high gain players we will be using a noise gate in the loop, no doubt. Don't know if you guys have noticed here this power switch over on the end. So you don't have a standby. What you have is a 3-position switch. At the moment, downwards is off, in the middle is standby, and upwards is on. I like that. I prefer that. I like the way it works rather than having 2 switches. I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, I'm wondering why other amp manufacturers don't do the same. The amp looks absolutely amazing. I really like the way they've left corner pieces off. I think it looks great. I love the handle and everything on there. The only problem with these sorts of handles is that when you want to stack another head on top, if you have loads of heads like I do, sometimes you can't. They wobble around because the handle's so thick. The amp looks mean. It looks like a monster, and that's what it is. But don't be fooled. This has some absolutely amazing clean tones in there as well. I can't help but point out, guys, there is kind of a flavour to this amp when you leave like a chord ringing out, and it's got this kind of what I call a frazzle thing going on. That's kind of after the throaty sustain that it has. Afterwards, there's kind of this overtone that's like a frazzle. It's slightly, and I mean slightly, rectifier-ish for me. Not everybody will feel it, especially if you've not ever owned a rectifier, but for me it's kind of got that slight frazzly, sizzly overtone going on, but it's very, very slight. Nothing like a rectifier, you know, that tone is completely based on, but it's just got a slight essence of it in there, I believe, and that makes sense because I believe Tremonti used to use rectifiers back in the day. I absolutely adore this amp, guys, but as I always say, use your ears, not mine. I want to know what you guys think of it. I think it is just an absolute straight-up monster of an amp. It sounds great on low volume in here, but I will admit that it is that sort of amp where you just want to go bit more, bit more, bit more, and you can't help but crank it up. I can't say good enough things about this amp. I think it is just absolutely fantastic. For me, it's like the perfect amp. It really is. I can't find out anything wrong with it. It just sounds amazing. It's a go-to amp. I would love to gig this thing. It makes me want to get out there, form a band and get gigging again because it sounds that fantastic. I'm going to be so upset when I have to send this amp back because I do love this thing. It's amazing. That's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, leave a comment below and I'll see you all very soon.